Duke went to Madison Square Garden, had a New York state of mind on, and got a much-needed victory over a top 10 team last night. I was surprised by this, based on the fact that they won the ACC tournament last year. It was the first win over a top 10 team for John Shire as head coach of Duke. Finally got that metaphorical monkey off his back. It's a big win. You could say it's a signature win. You could say it's, even if you take away all of the pomp and circumstance and all of the other, right, all of the narrative and the storyline and the metaphorical monkeys on backs and all of those things, if you just considered it like a quad one win against a top 10 team in the country in a neutral court, like that alone, just the facts are big for Duke this year. But if you dive into the storyline, I think there's even more. I saw some of what I was looking for last night. Now, I know Duke has, one of the most talented 7-footers in the country in Filipowski. I know they have one of the more high pedigree backcourts in the country because of all the 5-star recruits. That. But I needed to see edge. I needed to see a little anger. I needed to see a little, killer instinct. I think that's what I've settled in on, killer instinct. I saw some of what I was looking for last night. Specifically from Jared McCain. Jared McCain, a freshman in his Madison Square Garden debut, unless he played in, a high school showcase or something, not only scored 21, but also showed a little bit of that swagger, showed a little bit of that extra. It was interesting. I'm going to mix sports here a little bit. The Carolina Hurricanes, when they beat the Golden Knights 2 nights ago. Okay. Mike Maniscalco, Big Rig, voice of the Canes, who you can hear for every Canes game right here on 99.9 The Fan, after the game said, swagger matters in the NHL. Because he was saying that the Canes had swagger that night. And he used that exact term, swagger matters. And obviously, Mike is an expert in the NHL, and he covers it extremely well. But my first thought was, heck, every sport. Swagger matters in every sport. Team sports, winter sports, summer sports. I'm a big golf fan. You're telling me when Tiger Woods was at his peak, he didn't have swagger? Swagger matters in every sport. Jared McCain had some of it. Here's John Shire on not only Jared McCain, but Caleb Foster, another one of the freshmen for Duke, and their performances as freshmen at Madison Square Garden.
For Jared and for Caleb, as freshmen, to be in this environment and have the games that they did. Jared on offense, he's 21 and 7 of 11 from 3, very efficient. But also on defense, he's playing his butt off. Caleb ran our team great.
Playing his butt off. See, here's the thing. There's the tangible. Jared McCain knocked down a bunch of threes. Specifically kind of the ceiling one on the pick and roll where Jeremy Roach hit it to a slip, just dropped it off, a little dump pass to Ryan Young. Ryan Young, not the most fleet of foot guy in the world, goes barreling down the middle of the lane, puts the ball on the floor, defense collapses on him, kicks it out to McCain. McCain catches it, knocks it down. Not only did he hit the shots, but I liked what he did after. Right, he hit a shot near his own bench. He's looking at his own bench, flexing.
Yeah, getting the team fired up.
He hits the kind of ceiling one, that one I just described. He's running down the floor, looking up at Madison Square Garden, like, yeah, I'm comfortable here.
This is my Duke moment.
At timeouts, he's pumping up the crowd because he knows those Madison Square Garden games are 90% Duke fans. He's pumping up the crowd. That was what I was looking for. And actually, I'll give some credit to this guy also. I'll give some credit to Tyrese Proctor, who was not playing, but you could tell.
The hype man.
Yeah, you could tell he was angry he couldn't play in MSG. And that's what you want. You don't want someone looking up at the lights going, whew. It would be pretty scary to play here. You want someone looking up just mad. At one point, Tyrese, and this shows that his ankle's getting better. There was a timeout, and as McCain's pumping up the crowd, Tyrese Proctor was coming running on to give high fives and stuff. His shoe fell off. He was literally running right out of his shoes, had to stop and pick up his shoe. I was a little afraid for a moment because he was running onto the floor, right? They cut to the Duke bench, and then all of a sudden he stopped and like bent over at the waist, and I was like, oh no, he's grabbing the ankle. He just re-injured his ankle running out there onto the floor after a timeout, and then he had to put his shoe back on. That type of energy, I think, was missing from Duke in their losses that they had suffered to the good teams they'd played up to this point. And that's not even to say McCain was the leading scorer. I believe Jeremy Roach was the best player on the court. He was the one making the controlling the action down the stretch with that pick and roll, right? He was hitting a little step back mid-range. He was hitting floaters. When the play called for it, he was dumping it off to guys like Ryan Young. Usually you get a lot of like Filipowski setting the pick in that situation, but he was in foul trouble, so they were making it work with the guys out there. Big fan of Jeremy Roach, think he played very, very well. But he was benefiting from the energy already in the building because of McCain, because of Foster, because of Proctor. And now that you've established that's your role, now you have to keep living up to it. Now you're one of the guys that brings the juice. You're one of the energy guys. Jared McCain, it's easy to bring, and that's the other thing about last night. It's easy to bring energy in the Mecca, right? In Madison Square Garden. It's easy to bring energy when you're scoring 20-plus points, when your shots are falling. It's easy to bring swagger when you're playing a top 10 team in the country, right? National television. It's easy to do all that. Can you bring that same swagger, which Mike Maniscalco said matters? Can you bring that same swagger to a game against Syracuse? I'm not looking at their schedule. I don't know if they play at Syracuse, but on a dreary, cold, upstate New York day.
You got to produce your own energy.
Got to bring it with you in a suitcase. Got to take it out when necessary. Weaponize it. Because when they had energy last night against Baylor, they were pretty darn good. When they were cooking and they were swagged out, they were pretty darn good. But we've also seen them in other games look completely flat against good teams, and that's not okay.